Hello, everyone. I'm Tanya.
And I'm Jason.
And we're from the Board Game Nook. Today, we are going to talk about Barnburners and Noblemen by Sinderstone Games. It plays in 1 to 3 hours, 2 to 4 players.
It's a team drafting fantasy war game player versus player experience.
And it's a Kickstarter.
Yes, this is a preview copy, so things may change, and it will be coming to crowdfunding July 1st, 2025.
I felt when we opened up this game that I was Owen Wilson. Every single piece that I brought out, I was like, wow, wow, wow. Okay. A lot of wows came out when this game was unfolded. And I mean, rightly so. It's an absolutely beautiful board on the table. It's very clear cut of where you're going to be placing your members on the board, and then the actual components themselves are beautiful. They're acrylic. Every single person has their own colored base, so it's easy for you to see where your characters are on the board. And Jason, being like a miniatures guy, it's like, oh well, it'd be nice if they're miniatures, but really, I freaking love these guys. They're just beautiful. You'd have to paint miniatures. They might just be gray blobs on the map if you didn't paint them.
The acrylics were definitely a spot-on choice, and they're not just like the detail on each of these mini acrylics is amazing.
Exactly.
They also feel very good in your hands.
Mm-hmm.
One side is textured and the other side isn't, and it just at a glance you can easily see what's on the board. I think in this particular case, to keep the price point down of the game, as well as just for overall presentation, I think acrylics was the spot-on choice.
Yeah.
I do like miniatures, but this was correct.
Yeah. And then these, because I had never played with these before, they're just two-sided die. Really? So it's like, can you attack? Can you shield? And I liked how they felt in my hands. I liked how they dropped. I didn't like sometimes how they actually landed because it filled me with rage, but that's just the way that it went. And then, you open up these and the coins, they're metal. They just feel so great. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. That when coins have weight to them, you're just like, this is nice. It makes everything
it's chunky
better.
and fun.
Chunky and fun.
And of course, even the card stock for the game is a great stock. So overall, the components were a huge success.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the actual overview of this game
of how you actually play.
Pretty awesome as well.
In Barnburners and Noblemen, you're going to begin by drafting a team. There are a couple different factions. You'll pick characters up to a certain value. Once each player has drafted their team, you're going to deploy them to the board. You're going to have 2 characters or 2 units on the board at a time. Each player will then move with all of their figures.
Yep.
Then they will act.
Yeah.
Actions are you can roll for coins, you can attack, you can use a back card special, or you can you activate a card that requires an action. Once you've completed all that for all your characters on your turn, the other players go. The point of the game is to kill your opponent, and the person with the last unit standing will win the game.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing that you're going to do when you start to play this game is you're each going to draft a team. Now, the importance of this part of the game cannot be understated. In fact, I would say that the drafting phase is 50% of the game.
Yes.
It's a lot of fun to get onto the board and start killing each other, but if you have a badly made team, you're just going to get punted, and it's not as much fun.
Or you might have a good team, but the other player is playing for something else entirely, and they can wipe you off the board even though you thought you had something real special.
Yeah, so it's very important to look at what you're drafting and what your opponent's drafting, and a lot of fun, at least for me, was theory crafting. Each character has special abilities on the back of the card and statistics like how far they move, their attack, their range, those sort of things, and you look at their abilities and you say, oh, I wonder how well this is going to work with this character, or oh my god, you do this? Okay, I have to be prepared. I have to know. You've got lots of movement. Maybe I pick someone with lots of range,
This one is Jason's bread and butter. I mean, obviously you can see the wheels turning in his head of like, oh, if I match this and that with this. But you don't have to do that either, okay? Don't be scared away by that.
They do have pre-made teams that are fairly balanced.
The very first game that we played was just pre-made suggestions. So I was the Barnburners, Jason was the Noblemen, and we just kind of put our people on the board. Now, again, we didn't actually pick who we were going to put on the board ourselves. So it just so happened that the 2 units that I placed on the board and the 2 units Jason placed on the board, my special ability was very, very powerful with his card, which his unit normally is extremely powerful. She's amazing. But with my guy, Rupert, which if I had the outfit, you guys, I would be matching Rupert today because I loved him so much. He's kind of like a drunk nobleman, and his special ability just negated his unit on the board, and just I obliterated him, and it was wildly amusing. So you don't have to draft, but let me tell you, it does make a huge difference in the game. Your luck can only go so far. The stats themselves on the cards, they're important. Obviously, the first time you play it, you're not going to know all of the units on the board, and they can be important. We're talking about skill levels, which is for drafting. You know, if you want a certain level, you can choose.
One of the ways that they suggested that you draft is based off of the skill level on each card. The skills range from 3, 2, and 1, and generally a 3 was more powerful than a 1.
Yeah.
However, used in the right circumstance, like Rupert, who is a 1, he could beat a 3. So it's a good guideline, but not necessarily the be-all, end-all. It's still more important to build a balanced team.
Yeah, and I mean, so Rupert, his range is 1, his attack is 1, and his defense is 1. So you're thinking like, oh, that can't possibly be very good. When you're talking about something like the Musketeers, they can move 5. Their range is 4, attack is 3, and defense is 2. And they have a special ability that if they're together, you can actually crank that up with one of the units. So it does become important to know the stats of your characters and also know the special abilities of your opponent's characters, because they can really get in the way of your
and there are a lot of characters in this game. In the base game, it came with 12 for each faction, 12 noblemen and 12 Barnburners. Now, it's important to note that faction isn't necessarily important. You can mix and match any factions you like.
Exactly.
It's just some abilities only affect noblemen and some abilities only affect barn burners.
And the general concept is barn burners are highly aggressive. They have a high reward.
High risk, high reward.
Yeah. We found the nobles, they had lots of staying power, and they're hard to dislodge them.
Yes,
so
once they got entrenched, it was very difficult to move up and attack them. Now, something that we did also to make the game a little bit easier was we only read off the back card specials when we first brought in the units.
Yeah.
So that brought the learning curve way down. We understood how the game, like how you're moving and everything like that, but when I put on a new unit, I would read off the back card specials and let my opponents know, and they would do the same for me. So we only had to learn it bit meal.
Yes, and you guys, I mean, if you've been watching these videos, you know that I really don't like reading lots of things on the cards and having abilities where, well, if you do this, then that changes that, and if you do that, then that changes that. It drives me kind of crazy, and I did not find that at all. It was very much, you know, you bring in 2 units. I have 2 units, he has 2 units, and those are his special abilities, I have special abilities. So it didn't become overwhelming to be like, oh crap, I forgot, you know, that he can do that if he moves here. It was never that situation. It was very much, you're putting them on the board, your best laid plans move forward, then it's up to luck. Either you hit or you don't, you get slaughtered or you don't, and then when they get slaughtered, you bring on more units onto the board. It happened very fast. It was very uniform, very efficient.
There are 2 other factions that we also played with, the Alchemists, which are very much... I want to say that they're more luck-based. There's a lot of die rolling. For instance, there's one character that if you roll a die and he doesn't do any damage, he blows himself up.
Which is amazing, but not Jason's preference. He does not have good luck.
There's another guy, Sultan Saladin, and he has power of God. Instead of attacking, he can bring back a character that had died in a previous round.
Yeah, super powerful. Then the other faction that came with the expansion is the Merchants, which, gosh golly. We did think that they were quite powerful because these guys will give you coins, and these lovely heavy amazing coins, you definitely want them. They can win you the game. Okay, the cards that you get from purchasing them with these coins are mega powerful. Yes. And these guys allow you to just collect like a lot at a time instead of one die or one coin at a time, or maybe two if you're lucky. These guys have special abilities that can get you 3 or 4 or 5 on a turn.
All of the merchants start off with an ability called coin flip, and you're guaranteed to get 1 coin, and you can get as many as 5.
Yeah.
So on a single turn, I mean, it's still luck based, but you could get upwards around 15 coins if you rolled well with the coin flip ability.
Which is why it was nice when you're drafting that if you combine all of them, you don't have to be restricted to one specific faction. It was really fun to play with because you could be like, I'm going to have a guy that might blow himself up, but I'm also going to have a guy that really gives me lots of money. And then I'm going to have like a berserker that's just this big beefy guy that can hit really hard. I found that quite enjoyable.
And coming back to the coins, like they're primarily used for most factions to purchase diplomacy cards. And what we found was the game flow was dictated by the coin rolls. For instance, if you had a team that could generate a lot of coins easier than another team, let's say all merchants versus noblemen.
Murder them quickly.
The noblemen have to move in fast. They have to get in there. You have to play. The speed of the game is dictated by the person who's generating coins, because the power of these diplomacy cards cannot be understated.
That's right.
There are cards in this deck that literally say, roll a die, judgment. If you roll a 5, 6, 7, or 8, you immediately defeat your opponent's card. It's crazy. If the game is played 2 players versus 4 players,
right.
It's a completely different experience.
Mm-hmm.
At 2 players, there's much less time to get coins, and you really have to push the pace of the game, because if someone starts generating diplomacy cards, 9 out of 10 times
you're obliterated.
Yeah, they're just gonna win the game.
Yeah, for sure.
Of course, with the super fun 2-sided dice, anything can happen, but generally the diplomacy cards are going to give you that edge that you need to beat your opponent.
To beat the opponent, for sure. And again, it just depends on how you're playing the game. If you're not playing with the expansion deck, you're just playing with Barnburners Noblemen, they're pretty evenly dispersed for coins. So you're dealing like, maybe you'll get a card, maybe they'll get a card, but they're not like stacking cards, and you can work on strategy other ways.
And I guess the final thing that I wanted to say was, with 4 players, there's actually a lot of table talk.
Yeah.
So you're trying to finagle your opponents. Like, you're always battling each other and trying to kill each other, but you're trying to nudge them in certain directions. Like, I won't attack you for 2 turns if you don't attack me. Mm-hmm. None of it is binding, of course.
Yeah, of course.
But the table talk, I think, it elevates this game one more level.
Yeah.
At 2 players, it's fun chucking dice, and it's fun just up and bash each other in the face. But at 4 players, it adds in that.
You need the understanding of warfare, being like, I am going to kill you. But could we not do that right now? Because the 3rd player on the board is just, has all of his units still. And
he's just gathered so many coins. And it's better if we take him out now, because he's going to come back and beat us.
Yeah.
So with a 4-player game, it really helps alleviate any of the overpowered cards. And I hesitate to say overpowered, because a lot of the time during this game, they all feel overpowered.
Yes.
So you really have to just play the board state. And that is much easier playing with 4 players, because any one of you can respond to the threat, or it's a lot harder to become overpowered, because chances are there's something on the board that is better than you.
And it's not like you can get well established here, guys, right? Like, you don't get attached to your players. They're going to die probably quite quickly, or like a little less quickly, but definitely it's, you're not going to be like, I'm going to stay with this guy to the very bitter end. You might, if you have amazing luck on your hands, but probably not. You're going to be switching in and out and not have a lot of time to really integrate that character into the gameplay.
And the game does say that it takes like 1 to 3 hours, but I would say that at 2 players, especially depending on how many heroes you draft, a 2-player game can last anywhere from maybe 20 minutes, especially if you know their abilities, to maybe a half an hour.
It's not complicated.
No.
It's move, do the special abilities, roll your die, see what you get, kill each other, don't kill each other. I mean, it's not a very complicated game. There's no analysis paralysis here. You're just like, where am I going to go? How am I going to hit the heaviest? And then just move on with your life. So we got through 2-player games pretty
quickly, yeah.
That were somewhat rage-inducing. That when I was rage-induced, it was a little bit faster because I was just like, ah. And then it was like, oh no, we'll do this again and we'll do it better. And then I won. And then it was way better when I won.
The luck swung both ways. Pretty,
Yeah, for sure. So that's our general overtake of this game here.
General, yeah, no, that is our
So, final thoughts on this game. I think you guys kind of know where this is going. It hit both Jason and I's favorite thing in the whole wide world. Jason loves to draft and do the min-max of cards and what can work and what can't. And then I just like to blow stuff up. So we really found this game quite enjoyable.
Had a lot of okay. So it had that head-scratching moment when you look at your opponent's card and you're like, what? You can do what?
Yeah, I had an alchemist who literally can just obliterate the entire team in one go. She was amazing. It's a luck-based thing, though, because she's an alchemist. So if she hits the right one on that unit dies, and it jumps to the next unit. And if you get the right amount, it jumps to the next unit. And
it just keeps going, so you could wipe an entire floor.
And I did.
But at the same time, I'm saying, what? You're also like, what? So every card sort of feels overpowered, and you're always thinking, I can't believe you're able to do that, and that's a good feeling.
Mm-hmm.
The game is easy to teach, and it's a beer and pretzels game. It's great at multiple different player counts,
for sure,
but for different reasons.
Yeah,
and so you can just crack this out, teach it very quickly.
It's very dynamic. You can have it be very, very simple and just say, here's your team, here's my team, and we're just going to roll a die and kill each other. Or you can get really, really into it, and you can exchange characters. You can choose what you want to go for, if you want to do long range, if you want to do just heavy hitting. I mean, literally some of these guys have 1 defense. Other ones have 6. So it's just...
It really comes back to, again, the drafting, which I can't overstate this enough. The drafting is a major part of this game. If you don't like picking out your players, there are some pre-mades, but really it comes down to, I'd say 50% of this game is about how you build your team. Yeah. And I had a fantastic time theory crafting outside of the game. I was like, okay, this alchemist would work great with this merchant, and this merchant works well with this nobleman. Okay, so how can I put them on the board? And
he's choosing his people for the stats. I'm choosing my guys because there's this guy that's just in a wheelchair, and if you hit him, it enrages him and it doubles his hit against you. And I thought that was hilariously amazing. So that's why I picked my guy.
And there's lots of great ways to draft too. Like we played one where it was just a traditional draft where you you pick a card from your hand and you pass them on.
That's right.
Which meant that maybe the skill levels were not fair.
That's right.
But it was a lot of fun. We also played one where we did a bidding thing. So we all started with a certain amount of money and we bid for the characters that were flipped over. And that was a lot of fun, if a little unbalanced. There's a lot you can do.
Because you might get that crappy guy at the very, very end, but man, he got a lot of coins on him, so it lets you get those cards. So yeah, there's a lot of choices, a lot of variations that you can go with.
And it comes together in a simple package.
And it comes together in a beautiful package.
Now, the one caveat I would have, other than if you don't like battle games or PvP, this definitely won't be for you, but there's a lot of luck. An astronomical amount of luck. And Lady Luck, she giveth and she taketh away.
That's right.
You could be on top of the world at one moment, and the next moment, your entire team's dead from one attack.
Rupert won me the game. Literally.
I just could not kill Rupert. He just defend. Didn't matter what I threw at him.
It was awesome. It was
so
great.
Rage and happiness, but also, we were banging on the table and cheering for our guys. Defense. It was great.
Isn't that the way it should be for a board game night? I mean, that's what you're looking for, is to be entertained.
And we were entertained with this game.
For sure. So that is how we feel about it.
So if you're interested, you should definitely check it out. Like we mentioned earlier, it's coming to crowdfunding July 1st, 2025. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
So
it.
check
So
it out.
thank you so much for watching, everybody.
Bye for now.
Turn towards the camera a little bit.
I don't.
No, close your eye. There it is. And then
Wait.
is more of a surprise. Look, lower the board game. And then that's what you wanted, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So are you ready now?
Yeah.
Okay.